Seeker season is here, and the Web3 mobile evolution will continue.
GM and welcome back to Shift episode 2. Now, if you caught the first episode last month, you know the format here. Once a month, I'm going to be sitting down with Emmett, GM of Solana Mobile, and we're going to go through everything that's happening in the Seeker ecosystem. That's the wins, the milestones, and in the sake of honesty, also the stuff that still needs work. But this month, we're going to do something a little bit different, something new, because after catching up with Emmett about the milestones, we're going to bring on 4 excellent builders who are coming back to back. They're going to walk us through everything that they're doing as part of Seeker Summer, how you can get involved, some of the bonus point systems that they have. So stick around for the whole thing. But a very quick reminder before we start here, because I see this comment every single day. People are asking about Season 1, Season 2, what's going on there? Yes, Season 2 is still live. Seeker Summer is in full swing. So if you do have a Seeker and you're not checking your quests, you're not checking the dApp store, downloading some of those new apps, then you're probably leaving rewards on the table. That's your friendly reminder to go and check the phone out, see what you're missing out on. We're going to talk about exactly how to fix that today as well. But first, Emmett, welcome back, man. How you doing?
Good to be back. Good to see you. I'm doing well.
Right.
Doing well. It's hot. It's Seeker Summer, so I'm feeling the heat.
It's hot there. It's hot on this side of the pond as well. There's a lot happening. Now, before I came on, I checked the number of apps that were live. Last time we were speaking, I think it was about 950, something like that.
We had like some numbers saying 1,000, some numbers saying 900 something. Yeah.
We're now well over 1,000. It's at 1144, I believe. In fact, in the last 10 minutes, a new app has gone live as well. So it seems like it's not slowing down. But curious from your perspective, are you struggling to keep up with the number of new apps going live every day? And like, how do you feel when you see that number just growing almost exponentially?
How do I feel? I feel excited and overwhelmed. I think, when we started this whole project, I remember the very first days where we were decided we were going to do a mobile project, and one of the most important tenets of it was we have to give developers distribution. Finding those developers was like actually kind of hard. You had to convince them that this new platform was worth it, that these users would be worth it. And so it was a lot of work just to get to the first 5, 10, 20 apps. So for us to now be on the other side of that, where there's real momentum, there's a real flywheel of developer shipping apps in the store is great, but it's also pretty overwhelming. I mean, the team is doing a lot of really good, really hard work to make sure that great apps are getting not only released into the store, but are easy enough for users to find, which when there's only 50 apps in the catalog, it's a lot hard. It's a lot easier to find everything. Now that we're above 1,100, it's a little bit harder as a user to find the good stuff, but the team is working night and day on making sure that curation is as great as it can be for our users.
Yep, interesting progression, I think, going from trying to find developers to, something you said last time we spoke, which is that if you're going to try and ship an app on the Seeker, please at least make sure it works, right? So now you're having to turn developers away, which is, I think, a very good problem to have. One of the guests that we're going to bring on shortly, actually, I saw one of their posts today saying how quickly they got to, I believe, 6,000 users, 6,000 downloads within a week of launch. So that's very, very impressive. And it all goes back to this tweet that Totally put out a while ago, saying it is simply the best platform in the entire industry for distribution. So in that vein, I want to actually ask you about a community question before we start, because today's very much about developers and how they're reaching users, consumers, the milestones that they're reaching as well. But a couple of sort of loose ends that I want to tie up from last episode. So these are very interesting questions. This one comes from OX Faye. So it's sort of a two-parter. I hope you don't mind. First one is about SKR itself. We can talk about SKR later, but he's saying, when can we look forward to more features, more utility from SKR? So basically, when are we going to get an announcement about SKR? And the second question that he asks is about apps. So curious if you can say this without being rude to some people, but he's saying, what kind of apps are most likely to get recommended by the Seeker team? So I think his view here is that one thing you sort of replied to one of our comments, you saying he sees a lack of apps with real explosive appeal, which I politely disagreed with. Especially after the guest that we're going to talk to today, I think he'll agree with that. But yeah, it is a fair question, so I have to raise it. SKR news, when are we going to get some more? And what type of apps are most likely to be talked about by the Seeker team?
Yeah. On the SKR front, this is where our team is now pivoting a lot of its energy. I think if you look back at the last, 8 months since we launched the token, our focus has been on a few things. One, we had to launch the token. Launching a token is not trivial. We did it in a very unique way. We shipped it natively within our own experience. That took a lot of work, and we had to make sure that it worked and that the claim experience was great and the stake experience was great. And then we had some cleanup to do after it launched. So that had kind of kept our team busy. And then in the last few months, we've done a couple things. One is we've really wanted to optimize the dApp Store experience now that the catalog has grown. So we've done that on two fronts. We've supported developers. We've shipped an entirely new developer portal so that if you're a builder, you don't have to just click around in a CLI and hope that you get the right error message if there's a submission failure. We've built a whole new experience. I think that's one of the main contributors to the explosion of the dApp Store catalog. And then, of course, we spent a lot of energy making sure that the Seeker Summer Quest experience was great. This is, again, no small feat. It's not just us building our own product experience in the store and the badge collection experience, but it's also working with app developers, making sure that the data is connected properly between apps and our store. And so that has been our primary focus, is give developers easy tools to submit and give users experiences worth coming back to, so that usage and developer engagement don't fall off of a cliff. Now, as for SKR itself, like I said, that's where we're pivoting a lot of our energy to. So I think we're primarily focused on sort of two fronts on the token. The first is the actual economic loops. Back when I was on stage and announced the token, I shared we have grand plans for when you introduce a token into a platform like this. We get to do things with respect to value capture and all of the economic activity that's happening, sort of returning back into the hands of token holders rather than consolidating into the hands of one centralized gatekeeper like an Apple or a Google. So we're working on that right now. I don't have anything specific to share or dates to share, but know that the kind of first focus within the token is how do we really get that SKR economic engine booming? We don't want to do it in a way that frustrates developers or frustrates users, and we want to be really thoughtful and careful. So that's one. The second is we have a totally new way to align incentives around things like curation. As you mentioned, there's a lot of apps in the store. And the second part of this question is like, what are the good ones? What are the bad ones? Are any of them explosive? How do you find them? The truth is, right now, the incentive structure to leave helpful reviews, helpful ratings is just not there. And so getting those signals is a lot harder than it would be if everyone were aligned around something like a token. And so that's the second area of emphasis for us is how do we make the existence of this token and the fact that it will be capturing value more central to the curation experience of the store. I don't have any dates to share, but I will say our team is heavily focused on both of those two pieces right now, and we'll hopefully have more to share concretely in the near future.
I hope I'm not reading too far between the lines with what you're saying there, Emma, but it sounds like at some point, if people are really actively engaged and testing out apps and leaving thoughtful reviews on how things can be improved, that might contribute at some point to what happens at the end of season 2. Is that a fair conclusion?
No comment with respect to season 2, but generally, in the grand scheme of things, yes. Our goal is to take advantage of the fact that there are a lot of really thoughtful users out there who try all of the apps and have actual insights on them. But on the other hand, there's also lots of people who don't try the apps and leave reviews anyways. And so trying to take advantage, like again, trying to really capitalize on those users who are thoughtful, who are curators for this experience, that's our focus. So yeah, nothing specific to season 2 per se, but in the long run, yes, our focus is to make sure that good reviews, good rewards, good signals rise to the top. And we have an economic incentive for people to rally around to make that a reality.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I want to talk about Seeker Summer front and center just a few minutes before we bring on some of our guests, because obviously you guys have been working very, very hard towards this. Just to reiterate, for anyone who thinks they missed the boat because they missed season 1, that's not the case. You can still get involved. You should get involved. If you're not using your Seeker, you're probably leaving loads of rewards on the table. You can go to Seeker Hub as well, which is at solanafloor.com/Seeker, and you can see all the perks that are active there. But some of the guests that we're going to talk to shortly today, CollectorCrypt, they have a very interesting reward system here. It's 20% off a Seeker. If you do want to get one, you can use the code CARDS20. But very quickly, Emmett, what other types of campaigns are running, point systems, reward systems, etc., as part of Seeker Summer that people should be aware of?
Yeah, so we are in the first part of Seeker Summer. There are many, many things to come. I won't spoil all of them. What I will share is what's already live in public, which is we've got 4 great apps with associated quests that are live right now. That's Dolero, Loyal, Slimecoin, and TokenRun. Those apps are, not only did we work with those teams because we think the products that they've built are really interesting and solid and deserve to be more widely adopted and more widely discovered, but we've also just found that users love them. It's not just our team's belief; it's what the community believes. And so, when you look at those apps specifically and what we've seen over the course of the last week since we launched the Summer Quest, we've seen tremendous increase not only in dApp Store usage and Seeker usage generally, but also specifically for these apps. I mean, I know you'll be speaking to some of those founders today, but some of these apps have gone 100x or more in their user count in just a matter of a week. And so, like I said, each of those apps have their own unique quests. I would encourage users to go check them out. You can get all of this from the store and get a walkthrough of the quest experience there. We've got plenty more to come. There are 1,100 apps in the store. The purpose of Summer Quest is to help users maybe find those diamonds in the rough, find those apps that maybe they haven't discovered yet, maybe do have the opportunity to be a breakout app, and build quest experiences around them. So not only do you just download it and forget about it, but you really go explore and you see what is great about these apps.
Yep. I absolutely agree with you. Now, Emmett, I have to do this. I know every time we speak, I drop this bombshell on you. You probably hate me already, but the community would absolutely hate me even more if I didn't bring it up with you. Hardware expansion. What can you tell me? Is there a timeline? Is there any sort of updates? Any new milestones you can share with us there?
First off, I would never hate you. Second, nothing concrete to share right now. to just kind of say it out loud for the community, the hardware world operates on a very specific set of timelines. Projects get, announced a year in advance, and there's a lot of future development that goes into it. We're working with a lot of hardware manufacturers right now, and we're talking with some telcos to figure out how our product set makes sense on their hardware. So I don't have any specific names to share right now or any specific timelines, but we remain optimistic even in spite of increased RAM costs globally and some of the regulatory pressure that some of these OEMs are facing. We're right there in the thick of things. So our short-term focus, our primary focus, is making sure that Seeker users and Seeker developers are happy and that we are pouring as much of the economic value being created back into the token as possible. And then, in the medium to long term, finding more entry points through more hardware manufacturers than ourselves.
Clear. I recently tried to buy a computer and I saw the RAM costs and it blew my mind. So
It's crazy.
Totally get you on that. I would not want to be on the side of manufacturers or trying to do business with them at the moment. It seems like it is wild in terms of RAM prices. Now, Emmett, thank you very much for your time today. As always, really, really appreciate catching up with you. Ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners, do not go anywhere. Emmett is going to be back with us next month for a little catch up as well. But now, very happy to announce that we're bringing on 4 separate teams, 4 builders, 4 founders. They're going to be coming on talking about what they're doing in the Seeker ecosystem. They're going to talk about the products that they're building, why you should try it, some of the points reward systems that are active as well. So let's bring our first guest in now. Now, my first guest is head of marketing at CollectorCrypt. In my humble opinion, this is the single most interesting and exciting TCG project out there. So with that, Emmett, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Catch up soon. Now, for anyone who hasn't come across them, which is probably impossible at this point, CollectorCrypt is the #1 platform for tokenized collectibles. They take real physically graded cards like Pokemon, One Piece, etc., sports cards, these sort of fringe collectibles even. They put them in an insured storage, sort of a vault. They vault them, and then you can tokenize these on-chain and then go and rip them. There's some very interesting milestones that they've reached recently. Over $1 billion in on-chain cumulative volumes. And actually, this is an interesting little anecdote here. We had the pleasure of speaking with Twom Holberg recently. And he, the founder of CollectorCrypt, he really opened my eyes to the collection side of it. I was very much previously focused on the on-chain trading side of it, but he sort of blew my mind. With that, Bassbuddha, welcome to Shift. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well today. You guys don't have Twom. You're gonna have to deal with me instead. But I'll do my best.
Even better that we don't have Twom, because last time we spoke with Twom, towards the end of our conversation, we said to him, "What is the most degen thing that we could possibly do on CollectorCrypt?" And he said, "You know what? If you're really into being degen, put a blindfold on, go into turbo mode, and rip a bunch of $25,000 packs." So I have to ask you, as someone who's close to it, have you ever been that degen?
Oh no. The $50 price pack is where I like to hang out in. Now I'll rip 30 of them at a time, but we gotta do a couple more billion in volume before I'm able to YOLO spin the $2,500 machine.
Yeah, it blew my mind with my my co-host Thomas. We were asking Tom, about the degen stuff, and it seems like there's a whole new world of possibilities when you take this IRL bonanza and you put it on chain. But just for anyone who's new to this, do you mind giving me your quick version of what CollectorCrypt is? And I guess also the last few months of sort of developing this Seeker partnership, what's that look like for you as well?
Yeah, a little rundown on CollectorCrypt. We are the largest infrastructure and technology platform that is tokenizing real world assets. And we happen to land in the collectible space. The inception of CollectorCrypt actually started with these blind box mints on Magic Eden a few years back. We were testing Signal. You'd mint 150 NFTs. They were blind revealed. Once the mint ended, all the cards would reveal, and you'd have your actual physical, Pokemon cards is what those were at the time. Coming up on 2 years now, about 2 years ago, the platform as you know it today launched, right? And it started with sporadic gacha machines. And for those of you who aren't familiar with a gacha machine, it's short for gachapon. If you've ever seen like the little vending machines that are full of like the Japanese and Asian IP, Naruto, Hello Kitty, all of that, they're these blind reveal machines. So you put a buck in, you spin this lever, out comes a Naruto figurine or something. And that style of like a gamified shopping experience has been very successful for anime and collectibles for a very long time. And we have found our stride by doing this as well. So these tokenized trading cards, One Piece, comic books, Pokemon, and sports now as well. You can go into our website. You can find your price point. You can find what category of collectibles you're most interested in, and you can interact in a new way and these gotcha machines and pull your next favorite card. Our marketplace is very robust as well. If you know exactly what you're looking for, I would encourage you to check out the new and improved marketplace. But there's a pile of slabs here right behind me that I've redeemed in my time. Most of them I didn't even know how much I loved them. Right? I'm constantly finding new grails and new favorite collectibles by interacting with this gotcha machine, because at its core, CollectorCrypt is a platform built for collectors, and it's also built by collectors. We buy some of our favorite cards, some of the most highly sought after things out there. We've got the largest inventory and the highest EV, and EV is your expected value when you interact with our machine. So collectors first. We hope you come onto our platform and find that next grail, right? So that's a little bit about CollectorCrypt. I actually met with Akshay at Accelerate, and he pitched this Solana Seeker summer campaign to me while I was down in Miami, and I said, "Hell yeah! How do we go about this?" CollectorCrypt is in the midst of completely overhauling the UI of our website, and we're also building an app. And I was like, "Well, I would want nothing more than to have my app, at the forefront of the Seeker app store here." So we've got this deal in place. It's been a little over 2 months in the works now that we've been working on this thing. And, we wanted to kind of make a splash here. So with the CollectorCrypt Cards 20 code, I believe it is, if you are to, if you're looking for a phone, if you're looking to get the nice crypto hardware that everyone knows and loves, use code Cards 20. Not only are you going to get 20% off of your purchase, but we've also got a free pack that we're throwing you. And you can actually choose, because we're airdropping points, and how the points work on our platform. Every 100,000 points is the equivalent of a $50 pack that you can go in and spend. So you'll get that points allocation. You can rip One Piece. You can rip, I don't think we have a $50 sports pack, but you can rip Pokemon and One Piece. Take your pick.
Yeah, exciting. Now, another thing that came through is a notification, because as much as you're on Seeker, you're also in people's SolFlare wallets. And I believe as of, about 24 hours ago, also in Jupiter wallets as well. Now, I saw a notification saying $100,000 Charizards were floating around. I ripped a couple packs. Unfortunately, I didn't get one of those out of a $50 gacha. But talk to me about that Jupiter integration. And I guess, from a sort of builder perspective, from a marketing perspective, communication perspective, how does it sort of fit into your overall vision of getting more distribution, getting more eyes on CollectorCrypt? When you've got Seeker on the one end, you've got the SolFlare wallets, the Jupiter wallets, and then also you're building an app. Yeah, how does that vision sort of all tie into one big master plan?
I mean, you nailed it in your question. Actually, it comes down to distribution, right? I think we went from 700 users on average, yesterday, and then when Jupiter launched, we saw 1,900 users, and within a 24-hour window on our platform. So we're trying to grow the pie by providing the best infrastructure and technology and inventory. And I assure you, you cannot go out today, procure $10 million worth of Pokemon cards, and then go find a vault to put them all in, and then go find the infrastructure to tokenize them at the levels that we are, and build a competitor against us. And we view competition in a much different manner here at CollectorCrypt. Like, we want to grow this pie as much as we possibly can. If you've got a unique angle or a spin, or a new feature, or this marketing angle that you've concocted, partner with the greatest. Like, we've got the tech laid out, we've got the API documents, we've got the white labeling, standardized in place for you to, take your idea and run with it, with the best inventory and technology backing you. And so I would welcome anybody to look around, find the platform that sparks the most joy within you, find the platform that's got the coolest cards out there that you want to collect, interact with that one. I would say more often than not, it's probably CollectorCrypt bones in the background, but that's not what this is about. It's about getting, our childhood back into our hands and collecting some of the cards that we love. And I don't give a hoot where you do it, but I would welcome you to go ahead and try the best one.
Yeah, that was one of the conclusions I had walking away from the conversation with Twom not too long ago as well. Is I gave away so many of these cards, thinking, the trading value is probably just going to trend to zero as I get older, and the cards are just sort of sitting around. But it never really struck me that the collectible side of it is actually what's driving so much value to these platforms. Let's talk about some of the milestones that you reached. Sort of 3 months, I think it's been since both cards as a token and the user count has really been exploding. So from a distribution perspective, I guess, yeah, it's been 2 months now in the making, this Seeker Summer partnership distribution campaign. But have you seen an uptick? And as a developer, this is a question that I'm going to ask all of our guests today. What's the most sort of eye-opening unlock been since becoming a part of the Seeker ecosystem for you?
So let's see here. I'm gonna start at the beginning, because you asked about the users trending upwards, right? Yep. And so, one of the first things that I looked at when I first came on board in March, actually, CollectorCrypt for the longest time was very much let the product speak for itself. And the product was so damn good that it spoke for itself very well for a very long time. And we had amassed, a small power group of users that were, utilizing the gotcha machine to find these very, very highly sought after cards. Sometimes cards that are 5 in existence, right? And our inventory and procurement team are able to get cards off market that really no one else can get their hands on. And, to walk you through what trying to procure this would be is you're going to go to eBay. If you're selling a card on eBay, you're going to pay upwards of 13% in fees, or you're going to walk into a convention. And if you're selling at a convention, you're going to pay $500, $1,000, $2,500 for a vendor booth. If you're attending the convention, you're going to pay $50 before you even get in the door. You're going to trade to a vendor at 80% value. And it's just every step of the way, there's a middleman kind of taking a piece of that pie from your favorite collectible, or adding on to the cost, because they're throwing their expenses on top of things as well. And, we can take all of that, and we perfected this idea of, build the least extractive platform out there, and your power users are going to stay because they're finding the collectibles that they know and love, and they're not getting rinsed, right? No one wants to come and look for Pokemon and walk away with 0 Pokemon and $0. That's the last thing we want to happen. And so, we looked at this small group of power users, and we're like, how else are we going to grow this pie and distribute this thing and really get this out there? And I immediately went with a larger crypto Twitter push. It's like, we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of all of the users in our, community and ecosystem yet. Yes, I absolutely want to get out into Instagram and socials and YouTube and do some more consumer retail marketing. But I think there's so much more that we're leaving on the table by not, kind of doubling down a little bit and scaling and recruiting as much as we can within the Web3 ecosystem. And that, that's one part vertical integration partners. We've got, a great head of business development that's making these Soulflare and Magic Eden and Jupiter and Slabs and, all of these deals. I think we're probably close to 20 partners now at this point. And, when an opportunity arose with Solana Seeker to, literally get these onto people's cell phones the moment that they activate them, right? Like, that's just a huge distribution opportunity that I couldn't pass up. It seemed like a no-brainer. We had this app in development that is going to get broadcasted to the Seeker App Store, as well as, Google and Apple as well. And we're really starting to, break into consumer retail here. But that's not to say that we've forgotten our roots by any stretch of the imagination. Jupiter just had a monstrous day. I think over 30,000 packs ripped, something like $4 million in packs sold. Don't quote me on that, but they're doing great. And these vertical integration partners, again, are just proof to, you don't have to build everything from scratch, right? The infrastructure, the inventory, the technology is already there for you to take that great idea and run with it. And let us provide the bones to your great idea.
Absolutely. Now, before we bring on our next guest, I've got a community question here. Someone's commented saying, when are you going to add Magic the Gathering packs? Is that something that's on the cards? Excuse the pun there.
So if you know our CEO, he's like the largest Magic the Gathering nerd on the face of the earth. And he would want nothing more than to add Magic the Gathering. But we've got to innovate, actually, before that's possible. And we are currently innovating. Magic fans don't care about graded cards. And if you're a Magic fan, I'm sure you can resonate with that. They don't care. They want the raw cards. They want to play with them, or they want to put them in a binder. You can't do that with slabs. And so the demand for graded Magic cards isn't there. The demand for raw Magic cards absolutely is there. And so that begs the question for us in our next, sprint here. How do we get raw cards on chain and verify that, like, this card that I just pulled out of a pack, is that a 10? Is it a 9? Is it near mint? Is it lightly played? If I give it a little crease in the middle or something, now it's kind of bent. What's the condition and value of these assists? So, we are experimenting with some, technology that will assign a CollectorCrypt grade to it, and it will tokenize this raw card, and it'll categorize it some way, because with every slab, this is a 10. Well, says who? Says PSA. Here's the cert number. You can go look it up. You can find the actual value online.
Yeah.
With raw cards, it's a little bit trickier, but we're working on it. So give us some time and let us innovate a little bit more.
Patience is the request from the CollectorCrypt team. Reasonable request. Exciting to hear that new cards are going to get added. We love to see the innovation. We love to see the Seeker expansion as well. Final question for you before we bring on our next guest here is, where should people go to follow along with the developments, find out when Magic the Gathering cards are going to get added, also follow along with your social media? I know you're very active. You do a lot of podcast appearances. In fact, I recently saw you at a convention. You were posting some videos from there as well. So where should people go to follow along?
A couple places. Discord is the number one. If you go to CollectorCrypt, click the link tree on X. You can follow us on Discord. One of the Discord channels right now is reviewing our website. Like we put it all out there before we publish anything. The community is the most important part of the puzzle here, and almost anything that we do, the Discord knows about it a day or two in advance, because we really cherish the feedback and input from those guys. Yeah, I'm on podcasts, stuff like that, unimportant. Like, get in the Discord, hang out, follow us on Instagram if you want to catch the clips. We do live streams every Wednesday and Friday, where we release some alpha there. And actually this Thursday, for anyone in New York, if you're part of the CollectorCrypt community, we have a event. We're taking over the Solana skyline. It's in partnership with Slabs. So come out Thursday between 6 and 9 if you want some face-to-face time with me for some reason, or if you just want to collect cards and eat some free pizza, let me know. Definitely hook you up. There's a Luma link that we posted on the CollectorCrypt account like 2 days ago. Awesome.
Really appreciate that. Now, there we have it. Go check out CollectorCrypt. Grab a Seeker if you do want to do that. The code is Bassbuddha mentioned is cards20. You're going to get some discounts and I believe a $50 pack, but don't quote me on that. Maybe
yes,
you'll do
correct.
better than I did. It is a $50 pack.
Not only that, it could be a $4,500 card. You never know.
It could be a $4,500 card. There you go. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, Bassbuddha. Thank you, and we will catch up very, very soon. Now, we're going to be switching gears completely here. We started off with a conversation about cards and packs. We're going to go to a different type of card game here, real stakes. So let's bring on our second guest of the day. They're doing something I haven't actually seen for quite a while. Definitely doesn't exist on the Seeker. Chris Saturn is co-founder behind Dolero. Now, it's a 1v1 blackjack game. There's real stakes involved. So basically, you're going to be playing against one of your mates, sort of a head-to-head, real money on the line type of situation. I understand that it's built on Solana using magic blocks, so the jewels, are going to be running with ultra-low latency. It looks like it's quite a fun way to go head-to-head with your mates. It even earned an honorable mention in the Solana Mobile Hackathon recently. So they came out swinging. I think they've got over 200 players. These numbers have probably increased since the last time we touched base with them. 3,000 daily active users, I think, more than 1,500 1v1 soul matches. Again, I have a sneaky suspicion these numbers have changed. Chris, welcome to Shipped. How are you?
Hey, Jack, how are you doing? I'm doing incredible today. Very, very appreciated for the introduction.
Great to have you with us. Really appreciate you making time to come and sort of give us the TLDR on what it is that you're building. So I mentioned a little bit of the introduction there, but how would you explain it to someone who's maybe played blackjack, been to a casino before, but then this is on a phone, it's one-to-one. So how would you give them the TLDR of what this is?
I think the easiest way for someone that already knows how to play with some of these money card games would be like poker. It's 1v1, and there are some magic power-ups. I think that's the easiest, most simple way to understand it. The main game mode, the game that we're focusing on right now, you have 3 lives. You have random 4 relics that are like power-ups that you can pick every round. each of them the different stuff. Like you can put more lives on the line. Instead of losing one heart, if you lose 2 hearts. If you lose and if you win, the other person loses 2 hearts. You have one that negates all effects. You have a one that gives you a 50-50 chance to change your cards, for having more chances to change your cards. And then when you start, you can get 3 cards. You can change all of your cards, or you can play any number of cards that you want into your table, up to 3. And then you decide when to stand. It's pretty similar to poker in the way you get a hand, and you are able to, with this hand, build the closest score possible to 21. From there, you finish your turn, and whoever is closer to 21, just like in regular blackjack, wins the round. And whoever loses all of 3 hearts just loses the match.
Really interesting. Okay, I think me and a couple of my friends are going to have to get involved. I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to get very, very competitive with each other. But is there any alpha you can give as far as Seeker Summer goes? Any ongoing campaigns at the moment for Seeker users? I guess, yeah, why should they go and try this out immediately?
Well, we're pretty close to finish our week when we've been introducing the Solana Summer. And I would say I've been planning some pretty cool stuff, including cosmetics for all the people that participated into the Solana Summer Quest. We started this app exclusively to launch it into the Solana App Store for the Seeker. We built the app ground up for the Seeker. And as we've been passing more time since we start development, we have considered launching into web as well. And we want for all these users that have been playing for all this time to have an exclusive deck. So when they play, they can show that they were part of this earlier group of players that joined earlier on. And what we want to add a little bit later on is the ability that you can trade in a marketplace. So whenever you unlock this type of decks, say we're going to give a summer deck to all players that participated during this period, that's never going to appear again. It's going to be a custom cosmetic that's going to be linked to your account. And in the future, you're going to be able to trade it. So whenever there's new players that come maybe from PC, none of these PC players or browser players are going to be able to get these, let's say, like skins. So if you decide to, and if you claim your deck when we have it live, once the marketplace is open, you can decide to list it up for sale and have whoever person that's not ever going to be able to get it to just buy it up from you.
Very interesting. So talk me through the experience of having this idea and then decide to go through the Seeker route as far as distribution goes. Has the Seeker team made it really easy for you? Did they come to you with like a long list of requirements and sort of hoops that you have to jump through? Or what's that experience been like from a distribution perspective?
Well, my time starting doing game development comes a long time before. I actually started Dolero with another co-founder. It's been many months ago. And Dolero was supposed to be a side project to a much larger game we wanted to have. If you have played games like Rust or other type of large-scale games, you know that they usually have these type of card games that you can play with other players in some downtime or some outpost or some area. So we decided to start building Dolero. From there, we saw that there was upcoming the Solana Seeker hackathon that was going to be going on. And since we were very early stage on the development of the product, we decided, oh, why don't we build it for the Solana Seeker, right? It looks like a pretty good idea. We start building it into Unity, and it allowed us to ship it into the Solana Seeker. So we decided to focus our attention into building it for it. And one little bit of advice that I will give is that if you're a small team or you're starting, you're going to have probably a really wide idea that you want to build. And if you want to do it quickly and you want to do it efficiently, we fell into the error of sometimes trying to build too much. And I think you can think of publishing to the Seeker kind of like building a game for maybe Roblox. You're instantly putting your product in front of a lot of people, right? Really quickly. I would say it's much better actually, because there's not even as many applications you compete against. But what it really allows you to do, in my honest opinion, is you can really focus all of your time into one experience instead of trying to build for many different platforms. You can build a really niche community of people that enjoy your app, and that will make the transition into web perhaps a little bit stronger, since you will have a base users already.
Just on that note, very quickly then, imagine for a second that I'm, let's say, a developer or even a founder. In your words, what would you say is the best thing about building for seekers, the biggest unlock?
Yeah, it's got to be the users that you have, and you probably will want to do it the quickest you can, the most timely you can get it shipped into the seeker the best, because there's just simply as much competition as you will have just launching like a web, for example, right? You launch a web app, there's like millions, millions, of millions, of millions, and I believe there's something like 100,000 people with
I think a
seekers
little
in
over
their
that.
hands.
Yeah. And we must be at 10,000 daily active users now as well, which is, I mean, it's crazy considering where this all started and how far it's come. But yeah, I want to say over 100,000 devices in people's hands. And there's a lot of anticipation as well from, I know, the developer community, from the founders, from the builders, of taking this software stack and then expanding into new hardware verticals. There's, I think, close to 2 billion people in the world that use Android, right? So that'll be a massive unlock in the future as well. But talk to me about your development roadmap between now and, let's say, November. Breakpoint is happening in London this year. It was in Abu Dhabi last year. What are you going to be building as far as the users go, as far as the players go? What type of new campaigns, point systems, rewards, perks might we be able to see as users?
From all this time to November, our first priority will be to polish as much as we can the experience that it's already set, that we have shipped. We have found some users finding some smaller problems here and there. And the most important thing for me, especially with the type of game, is that we can get this experience as polished as possible. Once we can get any possibility of bugs and problems, it's when we'll probably take it to make a lot more content for the game. Next to that, the most important thing for me is going to be start launching our store for cosmetics. First, to reward all the people that have been early, we will have a way to give these items to people that it's going to be unique to them, and then in the future when we launch our marketplace, they're going to be able to trade it for new players that are never going to have access to this. They're not going to be able to buy it from us, just from these first loyal users that were in there and wanted to see the game grow as it goes. Something I will personally love to do, and I wanted to do this since the moment we started, since we have decks that have full card illustrations and they have the backs, I would personally love to partner with Solana artists that I know right now is not a super hot time, but as an artist myself, I would love to collaborate with different Solana artists to bring their creative vision into the game. And if something that I can make happen once we have a cleaner build of our product, it's something that I'm really excited to bring.
Interesting. So you were an artist before being a founder, or you're still dabbling in art? If so, what type of art do you do? Is it music? Is it paintings? What type of artist are you?
Yeah, I've been in Solana as an artist for over 5 years, and I work with multiple different NFT collections, mainly as a pixel artist.
Nice. Very cool. So, okay, give me one solid piece of advice in that case. I know there's a huge number of developers, people that are solo founders, even non-technical founders who are looking to get distribution through the Seeker ecosystem. We know that Toli's been banging on this drum for years now, right? Saying that Solana Mobile is the best way to get distribution in the Solana ecosystem. And I think slowly it's getting to the point where it's the best way to get distribution in the entire industry. But what's one really solid piece of advice you can give a non-technical founder or an artist who wants to get distribution through the Seeker in that case? What would you recommend?
First of all, start with a really small idea. If you think your idea is small, try to make it even smaller. If you think it's going to take you a week, it's going to take you a month. And if you think it's going to take you a month, it's going to take you a year. This is important because of second point, and I don't want to sound shilly just because we decided to go to launch first in the Solana Seeker, but it's very real and it's very true. You can get traction even just launching something. Like, you're gonna get people, no marketing, you could not even have a Twitter account, and it's probably very likely you're gonna get users just finding naturally your app, because again, the growing of apps is a lot and every time it's larger. So if you have this idea that you can iterate on quickly, you can push it now, and it has a much larger time for people to discover it. Not only that, it's creating crypto native users. If you have a good edge case for your consumer app, you're gonna have a lot of people that it's very interested into using it right away. All of people know what a wallet is. All of them know what a transaction is. All of these people, all of these users are curated specifically to the type of product you're gonna want to build, and it's a bunch of them. And
Yeah,
there's not a
it
mini
certainly
app.
is.
So make something that you can make quick. Lower your expectations when it comes to how grand you want to be on the get-go. If you're a small team, especially if it's your first time building something, start smaller than you probably want to, because you're going to have to do a lot of changes on the way, so you can ship as quick as possible a polished product into the app store.
That is great advice for people who are starting off as a one-man team, people with smaller teams, even non-technical founders who want to get distribution. So my final question to you here before we bring in our next guest, who's also called Chris, is where do people find you on X? Is it Discord? Where should they go to get their first match? What's your recommendation now? Should they just go and download the app on the Seekers? What should they do?
They should definitely follow Play Dolero on Twitter. That's the first and foremost place where I'm going to be talking and pushing all of the changes we're doing. And our next step will probably start our Discord community, so people can all go in there and talk to each other, find matches to each other. We have obviously the option that you can directly go in and just play with friends. You don't have to match with other strangers if you don't want to. You can just play with friend. You got a code, you can share it with a friend and you can play it against him. We have free modes. You can get in, claim free chips. It's a currency that you can just use to wager for free against other users or just your friends, and just you can try that way. I highly suggest to everyone that wants to try it to do the tutorial, play many free matches, play free matches with your friends, so you are really familiar with the type of game before you try to dabble on the real heat.
Yeah, I think I know what I'm going to be doing as soon as my work day is finished here. Get real degen with the Seeker. Chris, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming on and sharing with us your developer journey, your builder journey. It's very interesting to hear that you started as an artist, and here you are. So congratulations on that. And we'll be following along with your distribution sort of journey, if you will, within the Seeker ecosystem as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. You have a beautiful day.
Catch you up soon. Thank you so much. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. Our next guest is also called Chris, and I promise you this was unintentional. We definitely did not plan this out. But guest number 3 of the day, building something that fits, I think, the Seeker thesis rather perfectly. Now, Chris, who's joining us, is behind Loyal. It's a self-custody Solana wallet that actually puts your money to work. This is something that people have tried to get right in the past many, many times. It hasn't worked. If you've been in crypto for longer than 5 years, you've seen all sorts of hacks, exploits, smart contract issues that actually we've overcome as an industry. And you'll know that we've had rather shaky Q1 and Q2. Chris and his project Loyal are trying to solve these very serious issues. I want to share with you some of the milestones. Now, bearing in mind, this is a very young product. 6,000 users, $600,000 in total deposits, and $330,000 in balance sweeps through subscriptions. I have a feeling, once again, since we got these stats, that the numbers may have changed. So please do let us know if those numbers need to be updated. Chris, welcome to the show. Welcome to Shipped. How are you?
I'm well. I'm doing well. It's been a very long week. It's been a very, very long week with very few hours of sleep, but we're doing very well, and I'm very grateful to be here.
Well, thank you for making time to chat to us today during a very busy launch week. I listed some of the sort of milestones and achievements there, some interesting stats. We've been talking to a few other guests today, and for weeks now, we've been talking to builders and founders about distribution and what it really means to get good distribution through the Seeker ecosystem. So talk to me a little bit about Loyal. What has building on Seeker unlocked for you? I can see that it's been a busy week just by looking at your X account and seeing some of those numbers. But yeah, what's the crux of it here? What's been the big unlock for you?
So with Loyal, we want to automate the way money moves in a secure way. And one of the biggest things that we were aiming with Seeker release is that we wanted to see the way it works at scale, because Seeker has this unique chance of giving you access to thousands of users within a couple of days. And our ambition with this is working with neobanks, with wallets, with apps. And Seeker gave us this really, really good proof of concept and proof of work that we can point to every new client that we onboard. Because if you think about it, we have within, what was it, 5-6 days, we got 6,000 users. We processed insane amounts of money volume, and given that before that our highest day in users was maybe 20-30 signups, and then within the first day we get like 1,200 signups. Now that was insane. Like everything melted down, like all the servers were down, the RPC was overloaded, nothing was working, and we figured it out. We stayed on tech call, we talked to our users, and that was an incredible experience. Very stressful, but
a good type of problem to have, I think, right? Going from 30 daily signups to thousands, well, 1,500. Yeah, I think most builders would welcome that challenge, and it certainly looks like you guys overcome it pretty quickly.
Incredible, because since our ambition is working with big finance projects, big finance apps, and we treat B2C as this R&D to see how things work at scale, because the way we automate finances is very different from the way everyone else does it. So it's very new. It's still really new, but it works incredibly well. And one of the things that we wouldn't be able to test anywhere else is how it scales with actual thousands of users, because under the hood thing. So the way we give the best API on Solana is like very simple. You sign two policies, two permissions that allow us to withdraw and move money between community reserves. But all the money, everything, it's all yours. It's all non-custodian. It's all based on top of squats. Everyone like uses squats, trusts squats. That's why we chose that. And so for us, for you, like your money just moves between reserves. But for us, it's like 5,000 users, and we need to orchestrate the money movement for all of them. And when you go like from 500 to 3,000 and 5,000, it's a very different set of challenges to deal with and a different set of constraints to work with. And having that exposure, I think, was very crucial, was very critical, because we're growing fast and we have a lot of incoming requests from actual like neobanks who want to integrate us. But like imagine as a small team, and like we have no big names behind us, like we're just like raw dogging this. So we like if a neobank comes to me and it's like, hey, like we have, for example, 20,000 users, right? We didn't like before Seeker, we didn't even know how this would work. Like I know that it's like it works well and it's secure and we can do insane things with this, but in terms of like user volume, like we didn't really know how it would scale. And Seeker really allowed us to have that public case study that we can point to every big new client that we onboard, and that is the biggest thing, obviously.
Fascinating. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about the product here. You posted something recently, maybe even within the last 48 hours, 10% on stable coins.
Yeah.
So there's challenges. People can get badges, unlock some exclusive campaign access. Walk me through that entire campaign that you have going as part of Seeker Summer. And I guess a good place to start is, where should people go to get involved with the campaign to begin with, right?
Just download the app on Seeker, Loyal, or go to our website, askloyal.com. I think that we have a very good domain name, so give us a try. So in terms of the campaign, we were thinking about two very simple quests. First is to create the earn routing policy that allows you to get that best APY on Solana, provided by Camino, by the way. And the second policy is a balance sweep. So our idea is very simple with this second quest. We figured out how to do balance sweeps, the first on Solana, in non-permissionless way. So you know how in bank accounts you have checking account and earning account in a way, and you can say like, hey, if like there's 200 or more bucks in my checking account, automatically move it to earning so I can earn some yield. We figured out how to do the same with any wallet. connected to smart account. It works with hardware wallets. It works with Seeker. It works with software wallets. And so we, like, the second quest was really cool. Like, if we processed like I think 300K in balance sweeps. All it does is looks at your USDC position, and if it's like above the threshold that you selected, it automatically sweeps into your own smart account that belongs to you. You are the only signer there, and then through policies, through permissions, it just moves to the best community reserve. It's damn simple, but because you don't even waste a second of your earn, it gives like insane numbers. And
that's really interesting. So I wasn't actually aware of that. I know Earn was
we built
launched
it on top of Solana new, and the craziest thing that we are very proud of, 0 new dependencies. Like, everything is built on squads, like tons of audits, tons of formal verification. Camino, like for Earn, like, so also like one of the biggest lending platforms on Solana. And the balance sweep works with squads and new Solana native subscription primitive. So under the hood, it's your wallet that allows your own smart account to kind of use the subscription to kind of move the money. So it works very well. Like, personally, I use it through the web because I have like Ledger. So I have like software, and I get my salary there, and it automatically moves to the best Camino thing. And like, the thing with Loyal, like, we are not, like, someone told me that we're not native crypto people. Like, we all came from AI, and when I saw that there was no way to really automate the way money moves, and everyone was obsessed with like polymarket arbitrage bots, that felt very weird. Because for us, the thesis is that agents will do the most transactions, but agents need to be able to handle boring things. Like, no one wants to arbitrage polymarket. It's like, some people do, some people maybe do, but realistically, you want to be able to give permissions for really boring things, but very important things. Like, for example, for you, a difference between earning, let's say, 5 and 6 on Camino and 5 and 7 on Camino is not worth your time, because it's only 10 basis points. But for us, it is worth our time. And through the magic of compounding numbers, we are able to unlock a lot of efficiencies and a lot of money in the system, and really do magic.
Very interesting. So another thing I wasn't aware of is that your team and yourself came from an AI background, but it totally makes sense because you talk a lot and you talk very passionately about this agentic finance angle that you're building under the hood, right? So I was going to ask you the $1 million question. When anyone says 10% yield, the question is, of course, where does the yield come from? But you already answered that. You said Camino, right? So is it a completely automated process of moving funds around? Another question, a follow-up, I guess, is that code also open source?
Oh yeah, it's like, we are autistic about this. So it's 100% open source. Like, our lending, our beautiful lending, we're very proud of that. It's all open source. Our web app is open source. Our clients is open source. The way we route your funds is also completely open source. It's like, we win because we build the most badass product on the market. So we win through adoption, but like, we don't need to change or charge anything extra on top to really make a difference. It's all on top of Camino. The way it works, like, why we have such high APY is that reserves, when someone takes money out of the reserves and utilization is high, they give you higher APY, like, so user funds are not getting blocked in those reserves. Because we can move your money faster than any vault, we can really capture that arbitrage and give you higher APY than anyone else. So the best result right now from, Stakehouse vaults is 8%. We can comfortably, even with this, give you 10. Like, soon our next program goes live. It needs an audit, but that can push even 14, 15%. Like, we can show insane numbers at insane scale with this.
Very interesting. Okay, one of my final questions here for you before we bring on our next guest, who I'm also very, very excited to chat to. And I think you two actually would have an amazing set of conversations as well. He's also a very, very technical founder. And I'm sure you'd have great crossover about AI and some of those automations that you're working on. But for the Seeker Summer crowd users, for the loyal users of your app, hopefully in the future as well, what's the best way for them to go download the app, start using it, and then maximize their rewards? Because the Seeker Summer sort of campaigns are obviously a big part of the pull factor for some of these power users who are listening to us today. So what would you recommend that they go and do after this conversation?
I just download the app, give us a try, complete the quests. I think that you would really, really love what we have prepared for you. You'll get rewards, you'll get experience points, and just participate in our community. We have a lot of really strong opinions about how things needs to be done. So we argue a lot in the community. Just join, you'll love it.
All right. I want to say thank you very, very much for your time today, Chris. Now to our listeners, go check out Loyal, especially if you've been looking for somewhere safer, I guess, to park your stablecoins. This idea of on-chain yield has been very much an ongoing discussion, and rightly so, for quite some time now. Since January, we've seen a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but this sounds like a very, very exciting way to park some of your stablecoins for some yield. So with that, Chris, thank you very much, and I hope we get to catch up very soon as well. Take care. Now, ladies and gents, don't go anywhere. Our next guest is a bit of a legend. If you have never come across Mike Horton's work, let me give you a slight introduction. I'm going to try and keep this short because it could be a 10-minute introduction otherwise. I'm super excited to chat with Mike because Mike created his first company back in 1995 when, to be honest with you, I could barely walk. I was very, very young. He's had a very successful exit already from that project. He created GEODNET in 2021, which is a decentralized RTK or real-time kinematic network. Now, a few other stats that I really want to share with you. MIT actually named him a top innovator back in 2003, and he holds over 20 patents. And somehow, while being this busy, he also manages to find time to host a podcast. And he talks about all the things that he loves. So that's physics, AI, deepin, drones, robotics, and a bunch of other topics that I'm sure you'd be very interested in. So you can go and find them on YouTube after this conversation if you are into any of that gigabrain stuff. So whether you're a builder, a founder, developer, or just a deepin user, I'm sure we can all learn a lot from Mike Horton. So with that, welcome to Shipped. Mike, how are you?
I am great, and thank you for that amazing introduction. It is great to be old, and why, right? We love it.
Sort of dating myself there as well, but really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate you making time to chat with us. I imagine it's been a busy couple of weeks.
It has been. So, I mean, this Seeker Summer is hot. It is really hot, and we are really excited about that phone. It is a great piece of hardware. Our network has performed really well on it in terms of providing really accurate, verified location. And that's what I want to talk about. What we're doing on the Seeker is actually a major kind of technological revolution to be able to do verified, high accuracy proof of location on a phone is something that has never been done before. And it requires kind of two key ingredients. The first is you need the base station network, and that's what GEODNET is famous for. It is a deepened network where people put up RTK base stations to provide a new kind of service that is 100 times better than GPS. So those old GPS satellites that are up there that you're using today, they're kind of out of date and they're not very accurate. But when you combine those signals with the new signals provided from these base stations that the deepened community has gloriously installed all over the planet, you get something really special, and you get high accuracy and you get unspoofable, uncheatable. And that's what we've delivered, a kind of first in a kind type of implementation on the Seeker phone. And we do hope to broaden that to all phones over time, but the Seeker has been an amazing kind of test bed to prove out the algorithm, prove out the application. And why it's so important is that this is going to end up being a kind of fundamental technology for physical AI, a physical intelligence network, where people can use their phone to capture data for AI. So AI is the customer. AI, as we know, is revolutionizing every industry, everywhere, all the time. AI is I may be old, but I am not nearly as smart as AI. That thing is smart, and it knows all this stuff, but it can't do anything. It doesn't have arms and legs. Now, humanoids are coming. That's the end game. But until those humanoids are here, there's a lot of things AI needs help with. And that's where the Seeker app is going to be amazing. So what we really see long term with this is a network of billions of users that are, seamlessly commanded by AI to go do things that AI needs, such as capture data, and then get paid directly by AI. I think a lot of user interfaces are going to go by the wayside. People are going to interact directly with AI to do things, whether that's ordering food, whether that's getting directions. you're going to think, and AI is going to help you do. And for AI to do that, it needs data collection that doesn't exist today. And so we've built this workflow to do that, and that's what's really hidden underneath the TokenRun app. It's really an infrastructure play to be able to be the eyes and ears of AI through a dynamic, highly dynamic token incentivized network of seeker users initially, but broadly all kind of phone users in the future. And instead
there are a lot of phone users, right? So
there are a lot of
about
phone
Androids.
users.
We're talking at least 2 billion Androids in the world, at least that we know of. I want to ask you a tokenomics question in a second, because I saw something that you said recently and it sort of blew my mind and actually got me thinking. So I sat there and I thought that's a really good question, but it's slightly tangential. So right before we get there, Mike, if you don't mind me asking, from all your years, decades, if you don't mind me saying, experience, what was the sort of key insight that made you think, okay, mobile phones is a massive unlock? All this human capital, obviously, the combination is a massive unlock, and AI being the customer is another layer of unlock. But what was the sort of key reason that you thought, I'm going to start with the seeker here, and that's going to be my stepping stone for distribution to eventually, billions of phone out there? What's the sequential thinking that made you reach that conclusion?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a great question. So the reason that the seeker is so attractive for us is to perfect these algorithms. You need to we want to start with something that we can get to work, and trying to get a really high fidelity positioning and proof of location working across all phones is a harder problem than doing it on one phone. One phone, you've got one antenna, one GPS chipset, and in fact, GEODNET was involved early enough with the wonderful Solana Mobile team, including Emmett, to influence them to pick a chip that would be really well suitable to do our network. To be compatible with their network. So that was picked. And this was a while back. Now, many phones are compatible with their network. But back in the day when that phone was being designed, there were less out there. So we made sure it was going to really work. We understand the environment really well. We've been able to build on the Solana Mobile SDK in a very direct way and make the crypto piece really smooth and seamless. So there's been a lot of benefit to using this community and using this phone to really get everything right and figure out the model first before we try to boil the ocean of those 2 billion phones. But we will. And I think that's part of the story. I know it's part of the Solana Mobile story too, to expand what you guys have done onto other hardware platforms. And I think it's the same philosophy with our project. I think the big insight is like better, more reliable. It is so easy. If you want to, I'll give you the key. If you want to fake your location on your Android phone, there's about 20 different ways to do it. But the simplest is just enable mock location. With mock location, it's literally the feature. You can put in a fake location. So it becomes very hard, if you are a decentralized, if you're an AI service, if you are just if you don't do a lot of other KYC type of things, it's very hard to know that a user of the phone is where they say they are, right? And if you are trying to power a service that depends on, location as an element of it, and you want to pay somebody to do something, whether that's a DoorDash, whether that's a map update for a Google map, it is really hard for an AI to know if it's getting the real thing or a fake thing unless it can verify location. And so that's the insight we've had, that if we can provide a high precision verified location service on the mobile platform, that we can unlock AI to do a lot of things that are, being done in centralized ways today. And AI will do them better and more efficiently, which will mean, say, let's take the DoorDash example. The DoorDash driver is going to get paid a lot more if that's the case. If AI can directly do it, AI doesn't need to make as much money. AI is making money on all kinds of things. So its incremental cost to help you coordinate an order is very small, and all of the profit, not all, but a lot of that profit can go directly to the driver, as opposed to the current model where very little goes to the driver, right? So this is the type of thing that we think is really interesting long-term with this kind of network. And we're trying to build that foundation layer with the Solana Mobile app, which is essentially building a capability where you, as a phone user, in your spare time, when you're not doing things, you can work for AI and have that process be more lucrative, more seamless, more easy than doing something like, working for a gig economy company where you have to go through KYC, you have to do this, you have to do that. It's not, we want to make an environment where AI can connect directly with users and have them help complete tasks and do that in a super easy, seamless way, all enabled through the Solana blockchain.
Interesting. You know, I'm thinking back to, as you were sort of telling me that, I was thinking back to being in university, and we were talking a lot about the gig economy, and both the lecturers and, you know, the sort of teaching staff and the students, we all sort of agreed without saying it out loud that the gig economy was probably in the long run going to be net negative in some way. We just didn't really know how that was going to be the case, right? But what you're describing to me now, I wish, 7, 8 years ago, if we'd had this idea, I'm sure everyone would have instantly jumped on it. The idea of being able to work for AI in the background is fascinating. I have 2 questions for you on that. You said high precision location. Are we talking down to the meter, 10 meters, millimeter,
we can actually,
centimeter?
believe it or not, if you hold your Solana Seeker phone flat and you see the position go green, there's basically a yellow and a green. Yellow gives you sort of 10, 20 centimeter accuracy. When it goes green, and you need to be, you know, in decent sky conditions, you can't be indoors, you got to be holding the phone kind of flat, you can get single-digit centimeter accuracy out of the Solana phone. It is incredible. Wow. So, you know, it is capable of delivering really high accuracy. And in normal conditions, it's still way better than the GPSs on the phone. I mean, we have that data. We're making that comparison. So you've got a better accuracy, which is helping you, you know, tag the data that's being collected. You also have the validity, the way we've gone through a number of our iterations on the algorithm, but we have a bunch of data coming that's trusted through our trusted nodes all over the world to track things like the satellite ephemeris, signals that are very challenging to spoof, and then we're able to collect equivalent data on the phone, compare them in real time, and this is, you know, a big capability to produce a really strong proof of location. And so
very interesting. Now, if you don't mind me sort of jumping in there, the follow-up that I have to that is Seeker Summer is obviously this very exciting campaign. People are trying to get involved. There's loads of ways to get involved, but what's I guess your tip, if you will, share some alpha with us for the Seeker Summer power users as far as how they can get the most out of TokenRun as you know, as users? Is it you know, maxing tokens?
There's some easy quests in there to get started, including, you know, following our channel on X and, you know, checking in every day to enable some additional airdrops. So those are things I would certainly recommend. We have the treasure trails, which are multi-step quests. So there's sort of 3 different levels of challenges you can do. You can just sit in your chair and dig, and that's the easiest. You can go out and open chests, and then you can do connected chests through a treasure trail, and those are the richest experiences that also offer you know, the biggest rewards. So there's different ways to get going on that, and this is all precursor technology to what we're building to actually enable a kind of full closed loop AI driven economy that we talked about, where AI can work with phone users directly as essentially, you know, gig economy workers. And we think that that's going to be a lot less extractive, a lot better for everybody. It's going to be better for the whole entire market. It's just going to be much more efficient, and an incredible example of a large scale internet capital market, or some people call it internet labor market, all together. And, you know, this is a fully participatory system. GEODNET is here to stay. This is a long-term project. We are building real-world infrastructure for physical AI. I could not be more bullish on physical AI, really taking the world to the next level of goodness, and you know, making our lives easier and better. It's very exciting. I think there's bad AI and there's good AI. Physical AI tends to be, there's certainly bad applications of it, but there tends to be something that's really good, because, you know, if you think about farming, there are 800 million people involved in farming today on this planet. It is the largest occupation industry. That with physical AI, that will eventually be completely automated, making food cheaper, more available, and letting people work on jobs that are less painful and strenuous and, you know, hard on the body, and do things that are more, you know, more fun, more exciting. So that's the promise of physical AI, to make work fun. Yeah.
In the interest of time, I'm going to have to combine the next 2 questions that I have, because it's based on tokenomics, and it's this sort of raging debate at the moment of, you know, how do we create good tokenomics? You've got some fairly fiery, dare I say, spicy comments on what good tokenomics actually looks like. And there's this ongoing discussion about, should value accrue back to the token? Should it accrue to equity? This sort of yeah, it's a very contentious topic at the moment. But before we get there, I hope you don't mind. I'm sharing my screen here. I hope our audience members can also see it. Would you like to sort of talk me through this physical intelligence layer for AI?
Yeah, I think I already
very
covered,
quickly, touch on the
Can
key.
you go to the second slide.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there we go. This is basically the vision, right? AI creates tasks that those get broadcasted into TokenRun. People do the tasks. They capture a photo. That's not there in the app today, but that will be there very soon as we're in the phase right now of validating the overall kind of ecosystem can work, the location can work, the location validity can work. But this is going to be the workflow that's going to allow AI to start doing real world work. And we're going to plug that in to a number of different AI projects, and you're going to start to see a new kind of ecosystem evolve where AI can reach into the physical world in ways today, not 10 years from now, today, in ways that it hasn't done before. But let's talk about your tokenomics. So
yes.
Since we're running low on time, I think it's a great topic. We are very much in the got to accrue value back to the token camp. I think that when you think about any kind of decentralized network, you're basically you're asking the community to provide a big part of the product, if not in some cases all the product, essentially. And so when the community is providing the product, the community needs to get the revenue, and the way to deliver that revenue is through buyback and burn on the token. Now, there are certainly some things that a project needs to do to make everything work in terms of safety, security, branding, some basic business development work. But GEODNET exists in a world where it's a pretty decentralized network. It's over 170 countries. There's 22,000 base stations spread all over the world. That can't be coordinated in a centralized way. If you try to do that, you're decades of infrastructure build, billions of CapEx. And so that's why we exist. I mean, it's never been done before, what we've done. No one has ever built a network like ours before. And, so the rewards got to go back to the builders, right? I mean, that's just kind of where it makes complete sense to me that you would have a token buyback and you need to have value accrual to the token. Otherwise, I don't understand how the network would sustain itself. So I'm in that camp. I think there are exceptions, and there are always different tokenomic models out there. But I think by and large, value has to flow back to the token. That just seems
it seems only fair.
It seems not only fair, but also how are you going to have a network otherwise?
Right. Right.
How is it going to sustain itself? Maybe you can sustain it for a while with a lot of hype and some VC and some airdrops, but when we're thinking in decades here, customers call our stations monuments. That is the way people think about it. They want these things. They want to have coverage forever. You don't want to wake up one day and not be able to dial on your cell phone because they took the cell phone tower down. We've probably all had some sort of level of experience. It sucks. What you want is a good, reliable coverage. And so it's got to be a system that comes full circle.
That makes sense. Yeah, well, now that you've explained it, and I have the sort of infographic in front of me, the flywheel completely checks out. And the interesting sort of argument from you that I heard that I really wanted to ask about is when you said, I don't know why there aren't more projects like GEODNET. And I thought, most founders would probably make a similar argument, but it seems like a bit of a no-brainer now that you explain it this way, not just in terms of value accrual, but the network effects as well.
Indeed, I do. I guess my frustration is there's an awful lot of interest in trading platforms and crypto, and I mean I don't get excited every day to wake up to trade things. I get excited to build things. It's a different mentality. I understand trading is great, but when you're in the business of building things, then you really get very focused on sustainability and how do you generate real end user demand that's not trading, that's actually utility, like electricity, like power, like internet. Well, we are a physical AI service. We are the infrastructure for robotics and drones, and that's a new kind of service for a new market that does require physical infrastructure. So we're super excited about that, and TokenRun is a big part of that story. This is sort of the eyes and ears of AI, and built in a way. And there have been a number of attempts to sort of look at this, but I think a lot of them have suffered from not being able to prove location, not being able to have a kind of a strong enough project to bootstrap it, We think this combination of using Solana Mobile to start out, plus our network, is a really good way to bootstrap it, and it's working. I mean, the data, we're getting the data in we need, and the growth has been amazing. The community has been amazing, so we're so excited about the future of it.
Excellent. Now, Mike, where do people go right now to find you, to find the project, to find all the handles, aside from downloading TokenRun on their Seekers, of course?
Well, that's the most important thing to do, download TokenRun on your Seeker. But obviously, you can follow GEODNET on X. You can follow me on X. We have a wonderful YouTube channel. We publish a lot of videos because we're out and about. This is a physical world product, so there are things to actually see: drones flying, robots running, us at all kind of events all over the world promoting the network and the growth of the network. So our YouTube channel is an amazing resource.
Excellent. I want to thank you so much for making time to chat with us today, Mike. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm sure we'll be catching up very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. That is a wrap for episode 2. Once again, a huge thank you to all our guests, starting with Emmett kicking us off, going over to CollectorCrypt, Dolero, Loyal, and of course Mike from TokenRun and GEODNET. Thank you all very much for joining us. Mike, any final words for our audience members? Now is your time.
I think the Solana Seeker is such an exciting project. Spread the word. We want to share in Emmett's vision and Toli's vision. We want to take down that Apple Store and Google Play over time and get this into a Web3 ecosystem. Those stores are, they're useful, but they are an example of extractive, and the Web3 should pave the way to a better future by building on Solana.
Mike, thank you so much. Again, chat very soon. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Now, ladies and gents, if there was a theme, I think, of this set of conversations today, it's that it's never been easier to ship on Seeker. As Toli often says, it's the best place to get distribution. I think talking to 4 founders and builders has made that very, very clear as well. Some action items for everyone. I know there's a lot of power users, a lot of developers and builders in the audience as well. So Seeker Summer is live. Go check out the quests. Use the device. Goes without saying. If you haven't yet, cards20 is the code that you can use for the CollectorCrypt campaign. That's 20% off a Seeker plus a free $50 pack rip. And you can check, of course, every perk that's active on the SolanaFloor Seeker Hub. Let me share that screen with you just very, very quickly to make sure everyone knows exactly where to find it. You can go to solanafloor.com/Seeker, and that's the Seeker Hub. That's all your current rewards. You got the headlines, the news, everything that's coming out of the Seeker ecosystem, your hackathons, your winners. Everything is right here on a single page. The second resource that I recommend everyone checking out is the Seeker Tracker. This is a great resource. You can see here that there is a grand total of 1,144 apps now live on the Seeker dApp Store. And you can filter these by category, see everything cool that's happening in the Seeker ecosystem as well. So I strongly recommend that you go and do that. Now, next month, we are back once again for episode 3. If you do want to sign up to that, you can RSVP in the Luma link below. It will be the same link. And in our August chat, we're going to be chatting with some power users and Seeker developers and community members, because we want to find out what people are struggling with, what people are most excited about, and of course, what they're using most. The 10,000 daily active users, what are they actually doing, and when is the Seeker season going to end? When is Seeker Summer going to end? We'll find out all that next month in August. Thank you so much, and see you next month.